Carports are built both for their relevance and the elegance of the environment. Metal carports have an added quality of being sturdy. But as a result of its sturdiness, people tend to build it without any plan on how it can be moved later. That will ultimately lead to the question of how to move a metal carport. The reason for deciding to move the carport varies. It could be as a result of the owner planning to relocate to another place. Or there might be a need to change the position it was initially stationed. It could also be that the owner wants to change it for another one. But whatever the reason may be, need to have a good plan on how to move the carport. As part of the plan, you need to consider some things and make decisions based on them. You must consider the distance, the form in which you wish to move the carport, the timing, means, etc. If you want to make hitch-free transportation of the carport, all the above considerations and more are very important. 1. Timing. The very first decision to make is choosing the right time to move. The time of the year is very important for a stress-free completion of the plan. Moving a carport, and a metal one for that matter, is not an easy task to embark on. It will be a big mistake to do it at a time of the year when the weather will add to the stress. You have to be careful to choose a period of dry weather with a comfortable temperature. This is to help reduce the possibility of any unforeseen circumstance. Another major decision on how to move the carport is on what condition the carport should be. There are two major ways to do it that you must choose from. It is either you move it the way it is standing, or you dismantle it. 1. Moving it as a structure. Moving the carport without dismantling it has an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is that it does not cost much and will not take too much time. You do not need to spend extra time and money having the carport dismantled and reassembled again. That is a very tedious and time-consuming activity. If you can manage it, it will be a good idea to move it like that. But obviously, it has its serious drawbacks. The distance has a big role to play in moving it as a whole. It may not be possible to move the metal carport for a long distance in that form. Also, will be too bulky to drag and could get damaged. Apart from it getting damaged, it may be a risk for other people around, both pedestrians and drivers. 1b. Taking it apart. This is the preferable way of moving it. It has less risk and can be taken to a far distance. The benefit far outweighs the disadvantages. The major disadvantage is the amount of work involved in disassembling and reassembling it. That is not to add the risk of getting injured in the process. When you have decided on the form to move the carport in, the next plan is for the distance. 2. The distance it is being transported. The condition the carport will move in has a lot to do with the distance it will be moved. If the distance is much, like relocating to another property, then it is better to dismantle it. However, if you are moving it to a short distance, like within the same property, then you do not need to have it dismantled. It will be better to move it as a unit. Disassembling it and reassembling it will be a waste of time and resources. 3. What to do about the anchors. When building a carport, anchors are used in stabilizing the structure and make it firm on the ground. When it is time for the carport to be moved, the anchors might be a stumbling block. That is why it is important to plan for it early enough. You need to map out a plan on when and how to remove it. That will make it easier to move the carport. 4. Are there any restrictions? While making plans for the things you need to do, there are other things you need to put into consideration. Something like getting permission for the movement of the carport. This is very important, especially if you are moving it to a distant place. Therefore, you must call the local authorities in charge of the locality you are moving to. Getting the required information beforehand is very important in shaping your plan. 5. Should the job be contracted out? It is a good thing that occasionally you could decide to get your hands dirty and do some jobs on your own. The benefit of this is that you are saving money and at the same time giving the body some much needed outdoor activity. But sometimes you need to ask yourself if the activity you wish to embark on is worth all the hassles. Based on that, there is a decision to be made here. You have to put all your cards on the table and make a choice. The choice is between doing the job on your own or contracting it out to someone to do it for you. Steps to moving the carport. Now we know the arrangements to make and things to consider before moving the carport. We will now give you the complete steps on how to move the metal carport. This explanation is for the plan of moving it to a different location from its present location. That means disassembling and reassembling of the carport. The first thing to do is to remove the roof. You don't want to take the risk of damaging the roof of your carport. It is the most important section of the structure. Damaging it is as bad as destroying the structure itself. To dismantle it, loose the screws that are connecting it to the poles. If the screws are not of the same size, make sure to mark them. That will help prevent any confusion as to which one goes where. When it is time to reassemble it, it is your choice to decide whether to reduce the roof into smaller parts. Or do you carry it whole after separating it from the pole? This decision also depends on the distance the carport is going. The more the distance, the smaller the parts should be. The next thing is to remove the side coverings of the port. But if it has no side covering, then you go into the removal of the poles. The process of removing the poles varies, depending on how the poles were fixed. For the ones secured with concrete, a sledgehammer or drilling machine will do the job. Use whichever tool available to break out the surrounding concrete. That will help loosen it and come out easily. It is a lot easier to remove the poles if the concrete was not used. If they were buried into the soil, it can be dug up easily using a pickaxe or shovel. When the pole has been dug out, you pull all of them together and arrange them for easy transportation. For the means of transporting it, it is more convenient to look for a vehicle with a spacious carriage. An example is the 18 feet long, flatbed trailers. This size of the trailer can easily carry the roof without further disassembling it. Load up your disassembled carport and you are ready to hit the road. But if the plan is to move the carport to another portion of that same property, the process is a bit different. What you have to do is to unearth the poles. It is either by digging it out with a sledgehammer or drilling machine if it was set on a concrete floor, or to dig it up with a pickaxe if it was secured in the earth. You can attach rollers to the poles and use a truck to tow it to the area it is needed. Alternatively, you can get people to help you move it to the new location. However, it will be a good idea to have professionals move the carport for you. That is the best way to do it. Especially if it was constructed by professionals. They will know how to dismantle it easily. But if you were the one that made the carport by yourself, then you can go ahead and dismantle. Some carports were made by companies. And because they are professionals, there are some fastening that you may not understand how it was done. Trying to force yourself to loosen them may lead to the damaging of some vital areas the carport has. It could even be worse and lead to injury. But if you decide to do it yourself, then it is advisable to have another person with you. It does not matter if the person has the technical knowledge to be of help. A second hand can be a lifesaver in case of an accident or any emergency. If you've enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you'll know once we post a new video. Also, drop a comment below so we can know your thoughts. Finally, don't forget to check the description below for more details and visit our site www.zimcarportplus.com for more awesome carport content like this.